As we get ready to launch the Uniq Marketplace to the public at the end of the month, I thought it would be appropriate to bring some of the team on to talk about the vision and the go-to-market strategy. Today we're going to talk with David and Lucas. They have some unique insights into what the marketplace really means for Ultra and how we're bringing it to the market. Let's get to it. Welcome back, David and Lucas. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hello, everyone.
Let's get started by talking a bit about the Uniq Marketplace's position within our ecosystem. What was the goal when we set out to achieve with this piece of software?
Yeah, so the goal is to provide a means for you to trade your video games. Since in Ultra, every game you purchase will be represented in the form of an NFT. These NFTs can then be resold, and so you need sort of an interface to do that. This said, our technology is made in such a way that anybody can create their own marketplace and can display any NFT set for sale, even if they were set for sale through Ultra's interface. And so it's really sort of like the base layer of everything to show the way and to obviously test our technology and make sure that everything works properly. So we're essentially the first integrators of this technology, but we know there are already other people working on their own marketplaces, and that's perfectly fine to us. It's actually our objective.
When we designed this originally, it was kind of a proof of concept, and we've built on top of that a lot of features to make what we consider the minimum standard kind of acceptable from a user experience perspective. There are still a lot of features in the pipeline. Maybe you guys can talk a little bit about like what our plans are for the next coming versions.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. So the way we look at the marketplace right now is that we think it's a minimal viable product, and by that we mean that the core functionalities are there, but the implementation is not completed. We have a full plan ahead of us, but really making the core is typically what takes the most time, what is the most complex, because you're really laying down foundation, you're setting up standards, you're setting up procedures, error management, Q&A, all of these takes a lot of time to do. But now we are getting at this stage where the core functionalities are there, the marketplace works, and then from here on, we will be working on improving the looks of the platform, including functionality. And so at the functionality level, for instance, the search engine is going to be a big focus. Management of NFT collections, so that you can see, okay, I want to see the droids collection, and then you would see all the droids, and then you would see on the left panel maybe different traits that you can filter or different parameters, metadata, and then so you will be able to drill down into the collection up to the point where you would start finding exactly what you're looking for. And so that's one area where we will be focusing. There's another thing we're working on, which we call the product page, which is basically a presentation of a collection or of a product collection. And this would give you a series of information regarding the creator, regarding what it is, what it does, bigger images, statistics, and these kind of things. And so for statistics is also another area where we will be starting to focus. For example, displaying previous prices on the graph, showing some information, what is the floor price, what is the average price, what is the trading volume. All of these are things that we can start doing relatively easily, considering that, all the foundations are there. And we will be able to start building on top more and more and more as the months progress.
Yeah, I think that's where it becomes really interesting to launch as well, right? Like the thing is, we're gonna really have end user feedback, so not only the closed beta users but the real users. So we'll take those into account and include it in our, let's say, pipe. But the thing is, it's always a mix between making sure we deliver the long term vision while managing the, let's say, more short term quick wins. And that's where it's really cool to get everyone to start playing with the platform, sharing feedback, and see if it really fits what we have in mind, and if we see things that make sense to release earlier or later based on, yeah, the value that it brings. So that's
Yeah.
the exciting part of the product management, I guess.
And there can be, even small things that we notice also, but this is a small thing here, small thing there, small thing there. You gradually, get to a stage where the platform becomes really awesome. For example, having a countdown before the release, where you can see, okay, you're on the product page, you see the droids, and you see how many hours or days or minutes you need to, or seconds that you need to wait until the products are available. These kind of things, a little everywhere, will really make the difference, especially compared to the MVP that we have now. Yeah.
I wanted to go back for a second and talk a little bit about one of the business enablers that you didn't talk about, which are redeem codes. Can you guys talk a little bit about what those are and why they're, I think, very important for the future of Ultra?
Overall, the redeem code is very standard in the digital industry. Like as a customer, you want to get keys that you can redeem on the platform. And here, where we're going one step further, is to make sure that our NFTs will be compatible with redeem codes. Therefore, in a not so long future, we will be able to share. Um, we will be able to share some NFTs via redeem code, either to some external influencers, to the game developers, to whoever type of partners that we work with, so that the users can take advantage of it and redeem it on the platform. So yeah, it's an exciting product that we will deliver in coming month. It's really, really soon.
I think it's a really interesting example of how Ultra sees things as a holistic business in a way that, to my experience at least, most Web3 based companies do not, where we see that there's some flow that we think that from our business partners to their users would be beneficial for everybody, including Ultra. And we go and we build some functionality which does that other players in the space are not thinking that way and not building that way.
Yeah, and building that way is actually a very interesting also sentence, because the way we've done this is super, super elegant. And first we built a new functionality which is used. It has tons of use cases, so we didn't build it for the redeemable code. We build it for other reasons, but it's super flexible. We call it Authorized Minters. So when you are the manager of a token factory, so you are a Uniq factory. So a Uniq factory is an entity on the blockchain that generates one type of Uniq and can do many of these type of Uniq. And so when you're the manager, you can call it and you can say, hey, mint me one Uniq and send it to user 123. When you are the manager, what you can do is you can say, okay, I want to give, for example, Lucas 10 credits, 10 minting credits. And so I can do a blockchain transaction. And when I do that, then Lucas can call the token factory and can say, hey, mint me one NFT and send it to user XYZ. So he gets 10 credits to mint, Uniques from my factory. And the cool thing is that he can pass away these credits, like 5 credits, for example, to another friend, and that friend can pass away credits. And this is super, super flexible. So that's one building blocks which we are going to start using everywhere throughout the platform for many, many different use cases. And this is going to be super useful for integrators, people that are building apps, games, and so on, like these credits that you can transfer to backend services and so on. And you can do that super safely, and the credits will be there and they are reserved. So if I have a unique factory that can mint maximum 1,000 units, and if I give 100 to Lucas, I cannot mint anymore more than 900 units, because they're reserved for Lucas. And then what we do is that, for the redeemable codes, is all you have to do is actually giving minting credit to a special account, which will be called something like redeem dot ultra or something like that. And when you give these credits, you will receive essentially a list of codes. Like if you give 10 credits, you will receive 10 redeemable codes, which you can then give to someone, and then that person can go in Ultra, put the code, and they would receive the NFT. So it's really, we look at both are, again, part of Ultra's infrastructure because they're usable by everyone. On a redeemable code, whatever your use case, you can use it. On the authorized minter, whatever your use case, you can use it. And redeemable codes are really convenient because people don't need a blockchain account. They don't need anything. All they need is that code. And then they need to go on Ultra, so which means you can give the code before he even has an Ultra account. And then as soon as he has the code, he knows, okay, I need to put that in Ultra. So he will register on Ultra, and then which means he will get a blockchain account, and there he can copy paste the code, and boom, he gets the NFT, whatever it is. Maybe it's a game, maybe it's, I mean, anything we tokenize basically, or anything somebody tokenizes. Like you could even imagine somebody using Ultra's NFT, technology to tokenize real estate. Well, he could literally send like authorized minters credit to this special account. He would receive the redeemable code, and then he can give that code that somebody would put in Ultra, and then they would receive the real estate NFT or whatever it is. It's just an example to extend a little bit, kind of like your mind on the possibilities.
I think I'm actually most interested in the use case of a company, a partner like AMD, giving away games with redeem codes via Ultra's blockchain straight into Ultra through sales of, for example, bundled games in graphics cards or things like that.
Maybe we did it for them. Maybe.
Maybe. So now that we have revealed that we're going live with the Uniq Marketplace at the end of the month, can you comment on what our follow-up go-to-market strategy actually is going to be?
The really cool thing about going live and what I was explaining earlier is that we now can get user feedback for both the users on the Uniq Marketplace and then on everything which is the partner onboarding strategy, right? So we really start including those further into our decision making, while of course analyzing the performance metrics on the platform to ensure that we are on track with our own objectives and that we are really defining efficiently the improvement areas. So that's why it's really good to be live, right? Because now the product is with the people and the people can share their feedback, and we can see from the metrics what's really happening and what makes the most sense to improve. But at the same time, we're also working on launching the game store, and it will be the second phase on our overall go-to-market strategy, where the idea is to build a game store strategy that is built around leveraging the marketplace so that the developers can benefit from our Unix, and that we have many ways to take advantage of it. So the redeem is one part of it. And what we're really building at the moment, and which we can not fully spoil, is around making sure that games on the platform will leverage the NFTs that we have, and that everything takes part of the overall blockchain ecosystem that we've built, so that now the game store is not only an independent game store, it's a game store leveraging the NFT technology. And when you think about this, you're starting to consider many use cases, and we're starting to really build those with our partners to make sure that when we deliver a game, it has a lot of added value for our users. Like we're not just doing a one-shot sale. We're doing something that goes beyond that, and that's what we're really pushing for.
Can we talk a little bit about exactly what the Uniq Marketplace does from a business perspective? Because like there's functionally what it does, right? Where it allows you to functionally go and buy and sell uniques. But from a business perspective, it also has its own value, both for us at Ultra and of course from like a developer or a content creator's perspective.
Overall, the Uniq Marketplace is the door to the NFT world, right? For mainstream partners. And this door, it will open a world of infinite opportunities, which are not only PFPs or speculative NFTs. We're building a world around the community management and the ownership of the content. And while you start considering this and building your strategy around it, it goes, let's say, expensively wider, right? Like the goal is for our creators to directly interact with the community without depending from the willingness of the platform, so that they can get lifetime value for the business that is only currently a one-shot business. So at the moment, you know how it is, right? You mostly sell a game and it's kind of stopped there. Then you have the discounts, and in your revenue strategy is built around, let's say, one-shot sale of your product. The thing is that with our NFT marketplace, we're transitioning this to a lifetime value of the content that you're selling. So it increases the revenue generation and the business opportunities for the partners by X, right? So we're trying to build interactive applications or games where the users can own the content and take advantage from it, either financially by being able to resell it, generating revenue, potentially staking, all the advantages of the blockchain ecosystem at the moment, or via the utility and the community management of it that delivers value to the NFT.
Now that we have a functional Uniq Marketplace, which is going live to the public, do we have all the pieces in place to open game tokenization to the public?
So game tokenization relies on metadata. This metadata, the metadata structure of our NFT standard is about to get an upgrade, which will allow NFT creators to assign independent metadata per token factory, per unique generated out of our unique factory. You can think about, to give a simple example, if you make a PFP, very often there is a reveal moment. So you first buy it, everybody got their PFPs, and then there's a moment when the PFP is revealed, and then you know exactly what you got, right? Now, as part of this functionality, what happens with Ultra is that, so you have one NFT factory, and currently the metadata is assigned to the unique factory, and then every token derives the metadata from the factory. So all tokens are the same. If you want to have them different, you create different factories. In the upgrade, you will be able to have metadata on the unique factory. And then for every unique that you generate, you will be able to have unique metadata. And it's done in a very cool way. Like you can say, from 1 to 5, they get this metadata. 6 gets another one. From 8 to 20 gets another one. And this is very, useful for many different use cases. But in the case of games, games rely on a lot of metadata. And so we are going to wait to complete this new, we call it internally the variant system. Once the variant system is done, then we will implement the tokenization of games that will rely on the variant system. And there's some very cool possibilities out there. For example, you could imagine the game itself can be a PFP collection. So for example, unique metadata have many more, has a lot of media as opposed to the classical NFT. Classical NFT, you have an image, it stops there. On Unique you have a square image, which, as you can imagine, is a square. You have a product image, which can be of any shape, including, alpha transparency, rounds, circles, whatever. Then you have the hero image, which we use in the cards as a background, but you can use it on the product page as well. And then we have the gallery images. And so what is possible is that you can use the square image for a PFP, and then the product image can be, the box art of your game. So, and then what you can do is that every time somebody purchases the game, you can assign a unique metadata on this Unique, and that would mean that every game would be special. And so if you can imagine, some games that have characters and so on, you could have different variants of the character. If you have a game that has, character editing capabilities, you could have, randomized characters. And then, of course, as part of our decentralized identity solution, which we're currently working on, you will be able to assign this NFT as your decentralized identity avatar. And as soon as you assign it, then throughout Ultra's platform, you will see, your avatar. But also throughout third-party platforms like Agora, like Xborg, like games, they would actually, when they have a need for a product image, they would, just look it up on the blockchain, and then they would find out that, your avatar is the square image of that game, and then they can pick that image and then they can show it in the game or in the app or in Agora or whatever the application you're in. And so, this kind of like closes the circle where we will be combining, and we will be able to do things that are, extra cool. And I'm really looking forward seeing what game developers will be building. And then it's also a great marketing tool, because they can say, well, you know what, the first 10,000 people that buy the game, they get, a PFP with their game, and everybody else will get the standard metadata, so therefore image. And this is possible because the PFP, we're able to say, we're able to assign ranges to the metadata. So we can say metadata, one is this one, two is that one, and then from 10,000 and one until no end, that's the one. And then everybody would get the standard one behind.
I think that's an interesting thing, because what you're actually talking about there is a reason for people to resell their games on the marketplace. Because if you get a game, right, which has a really rare PFP, and you're finished with the game, and then all of a sudden your game is worth a lot of money because it has a rare PFP attached to it as part of, the token factory variant that you happen to get. I mean, that's a really interesting use case that I've never seen even talked about.
Yeah, so this again, one differentiator, especially if you're talking about, you could apply that on the limited edition version of the game. Like standard version would have this limited edition, and then again, it benefits from being provably scarce, because everything is visible on the blockchain, and like you can count them, exactly how many there are. So it's quite exciting. I What we're trying to do, with NFTs is we're trying to um, give as much value both to users and developers by doing the least effort possible. Because everybody's super busy, developers, are busy making their game and so on. And so if you come up with really complex systems and so on, they have other things to do. And so with this system, basically, we're leveraging all the building blocks that we're, setting in place for the core infrastructure, and this variant system is part of it. And so suddenly, it becomes something much easier for them to do, They can just provide us, the metadata. We can generate it for them and then apply it on a Uniq factory.
So I wanted to thank you guys for your time today. It's always a pleasure having you on. I think we always kind of like go down these paths that like I never expect, and it's always super fun to kind of like pick your brains.
Cool.
Thanks, Rami.
Thanks, Rami. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.